Hello students, as we have discussed in our last video about the meaning, features, process and importance of organizing. Now we are coming to the next topic, that is types of organizational structure. So let's start. Before explaining different types of organizational structure, I would like to explain you meaning of organizational structure. As we can see that here it is written, organizational structure is a framework within which managerial and operating tasks are performed. So what is the structure? As the name itself suggests, the structure is a framework, or we can say it is a network that defines about the relations between people, work and resources, and different activities that an organization is going to perform to achieve their organizational objective. It means, students, organizational structure is a network or framework that specifies you, as we have discussed in the last chapter of planning, that in planning an organization has decided that what is the goal, what is the target that an organization decides to achieve. So for that organizational objective, what are the different activities, resources, whether these resources are human resource or physical resource, what are the different levels of management, what are the activities that an organization need to be performed so that they can implement their plan and can achieve their organizational goal. Here, I would like to give you an example so that the meaning would be more clear to you. For example, Mr. Ram has established a company, okay, to sell, for example, medical products. So, for this, he appointed a purchase manager, a sales manager, a stock in charge, an accountant, and various different managers to handle the business. But while appointing the personnel, he fixed the responsibilities of each one. Okay. So while setting each employee's job responsibilities and accountability, Mr. Ram was actually setting up the organizational structure. I mean to say that whenever a manager is deciding that to achieve the organizational objective, how many persons I am going to need to achieve this objective, and what are the different activities, responsibilities and authorities I would give to my employees. At that time, what he is exactly doing, he is framing the organizational structure only. It means not appointing the person is relates to the organizing, but only framing a network of different people, work, resources and many other activities which will give a shape to the objective. That or network is known as organizational structure. Okay, so what are the features of organizational structure? We can say that it specifies the relationship between work, people and resources for ensuring a smooth flow of communication in the organization, that what is the different activity and work. So maybe the meaning of organizational structure is clear to you. Now the next topic that we have to discuss is relation between span of management and organization structure. After organization structure, a different concept comes in front of us, that is span of management. What is it? It refers to the number of subordinates that can be effectively managed by a superior. What was the structure? Structure was just a network of different managers, how many managers, employees, work we are going to do. But how many employees can be effectively managed by a superior? As we have seen in the large organizations that there are different departments of purchase department, sales department and various other departments, but of all the whole the organization, all the department have one senior manager of each department. Okay, let's say purchase department manager. Okay, so under that manager, how many workers are working, how many subordinates are working, that means span of management. So in the organization structure, it is also being defined that what how many employees will work under one manager. Okay, for example, 10 workers will work under one manager. If we are having 50 workers and 5 managers, so we will divide 10 employees to a single manager, so that each manager can hold and control each and every employee effectively. Okay, there should not be a burden of 50 workers on a single person. So what is span of manager? It refers to the number of subordinates that can be effectively managed by a superior. But why we are discussing about span of management? Because the size of organizational structure depends on the span of management. It means here it is written, narrow span of management results in tall structure, whereas wider span of management results in flat. It means narrow span of management, it means the number of employees, if the number of employees under one manager is very, it is very a small number. Okay, very less employees are working under one manager, it means more managers will be required to handle such employees, so the structure will be tall. But if you are appointing two managers only, then we have to divide that 50 workers into 25 workers under one manager. It means the structure will be very much flat. So you have to understand that the large number of employees, if you are appointing and you are giving the responsibility of large number of employees to a single manager, the structure will be flat. But if the span of management, the number of workers are very small under one manager, the structure will be tall. Okay, now coming to the types of organizational structure, there are two types of organizational structure. First is functional structure and B1 is second point is divisional structure. Now we will study functional structure. Here it is written, in functional structure, activities are grouped and departments are created on the basis of specific functions to be performed. It means that function structure is that in which similar nature students or related jobs performed in the business, which are being performed in the business, are grouped together as a separate department. For example, in an organization there are 4 departments. Purchase department, it means it is a very large organization, so on the basis of the functions here refers to purchase, sale function, advertisement function. So it means if any organization is dividing the whole organization into different departments and grouping all the activities relating to one department under that particular department, that structure is known as functional structure. As I have given an example to you, that an organization has made 4 departments: purchase, sales, advertisement and finance department. So all the activities, let's say all the activities related to the purchase department will be grouped under purchase department. All the activities of sales, for example, how many units, how much units we are going to sell in the market, okay, it will become under sales department. All the accounts work, how to manage the finance, how to keep the finance, okay, it will become under finance department. So grouping all the activities under one department and dividing the whole organization on the basis of departments is known as functional structure. As the name itself suggests, that functional means to divide the organization, to divide whole organization into different departments and then grouping all the activities, all the same activities under one department is known as functional structure. Is it clear? Now, in which type of organization functional structure is suitable? I have written here, large organizations producing one line of product. It means this type of structure is suitable only for those organizations where the organization is producing only one line of product. One line means, for example, automobiles, we can say that they are manufacturing cars, motorbikes, bicycle and different products of same line. So it means in this type of organization they used to divide the organization into different departments, and organization should be large, where it is not possible to handle whole organization by the single manager or by a single department. So in that case the organization divide the whole into different departments so that each and every department can be handled effectively. Is it clear? Now Second suitability is organizations which require high degree of functional specialization with diversified activities. It means those organizations who requires that our each and every work should be very specialized. We don't want any type of confusion or lack of coordination in any department. That type of organizations adopt functional structure. They don't want to take any risk, whether it is a sales department, purchase department, or advertisement department. They don't want to take any risk, so they try to divide the organization into different departments so that each and every department will be handled by different managers, and they can perform their activities with less burden of work, which will result in specialization and effectiveness also. Clear? Now, coming to the advantages of functional structure, there are many advantages. First one is functional specialization. This type of structures emphasis on specific tasks being performed by specialized and professional experts. As we know that, as I have told you, that in that organization, if the departments are divided, then different separate managers will also be appointed to handle that particular department. If 50 workers are working in that department, so each and every worker will be handled, will be supervised by a single manager. So each manager who has been appointed must be the specialized and expert of his or her field. So it means if that expert and a specialist of that department will handle that department, so each and every work will be performed with very speciality. It means this will leads to efficiency and specialization. Why? Because the individual who is performing the task will be able to achieve occupational as well as functional specialization. Okay, because the person who is appointed to handle that particular department is specialist and expert of their department, so each and every activity will also be very much specialized. Now, second advantage is coordination is established. It means that functional organization also creates coordination among the different departments. Here it is written, all the persons working within a departmental are specialists of their respective jobs. It makes the coordination easier at departmental level. It means, for example, production department depends upon the purchase department. Okay, how much purchase department are purchasing, only then the production department will be able to produce the product. Then sales department depends upon production department, how much the production department have been produced, sales department will be able to sell only that quantity only. Now for final product, sales department is dependent upon the purchase. Now this interdependence will lead to coordination also. As we know that all the departments are different, even then they are interrelated with each other, which will result in coordination between all the departments. Now, coming to the third advantage, helps in increasing managerial efficiency. How it is written that managers of one department, as we can say that manager of one department are performing same type of function again and again. So if the person, as we can take an example, that if a person in an organization is performing that particular task again and again in his job, so this makes that person very specialized, and the person who is specialized in their job performs the work with less and less wastage. Okay, we can see in our practical life also, the task in which we are very much expert, we are able to complete that task with less and less wastage, and less wastage means less cost, and this will leads to more profit, and it is the meaning of efficiency. What does efficiency means? That performing a task with minimum cost, and minimum cost, and performing the task with minimum cost is only possible when it is done by by a person who is specialized in their job. Okay, so manager efficiency is achieved, is increased when the person is performed by a person who is specialized in his job, and he has become specialized because he has performed that job again and again in that organization. So with the help of functional structure, everyone gets opportunity to achieve the specialization and expertise in that particular task. So this will also helps in decreasing the cost of an organization, and it will result in more profit. Now, fourth advantage is minimizes cost. It means it leads to minimum duplication of effort, which results in economies of scale and thus lowers cost. It means minimizes cost. What does this refers to? As we have discussed, that the division of work into smaller tasks prevents duplication of work. It means it reduces confusions, it reduces wastage of resources. So this will help the business to achieve economies of scale, and it will also reduces the operation cost. It means the work will be done by that person only to whom it has been assigned. Okay, it is clearly being defined that who has to perform the particular work. So there is no duplication of work, and if the work is not duplicated, so it will be done in that sequence only, that number of times only in which there was requirement. So it will also result in less cost. Might be there is a confusion between third and fourth point are similar to you, but there is a much big difference. That third point suggests you managerial efficiency. It makes the manager more efficient to perform the task without wastage. Okay, but this point suggests that without wastage, if the worker is performing, if the manager is performing a task without wastage, so it will minimizes the cost and will be performing it. If it is performing the task with minimum cost, it will lower the cost, and hence the profit will also get increased. Fifth advantage is easy to train employees. It means, as we know, that each and every manager, each and every worker even has been given the responsibility to perform a particular task only. For example, if uh, if an employee has been appointed for the purchase department, so he has to train, he has to get the knowledge and skills of the particular department only, of the purchase department only. So it is very easy to train the employees, because we have to train the employee only for a particular task. We don't need to train them regarding the about the sales department, finance department. They don't have any matter with the other department. Okay, so it is very easy to train employees, as it makes training of the employees easy and cost effective, as they are trained in limited type of skills related to similar task only. If an employee is appointed in an organization, he is a new employee, so what we have to do, we have to train that employee only for that work for which he is appointed. In functional structure, training is given to an employee only for the particular task for which that person has been appointed. The organization will not give training for the other departments. So it is very easy, even it is very cost effective. You don't need to spend the money in training the employee for rest of the work. Only one work that for which he has been appointed, we have to give the training for that task only. Sixth advantage is proper attention. It means individuals have to perform similar and small tasks, enables them to focus on the activities they are responsible for. It means, for example, it is an automobile company. They are producing cars and motorbikes. Two products are being manufactured in that company, but they have divided the department of sales and purchase. So the employee who has been appointed for the purchase department, he has to give his as much as possible his best efforts for the purchase department only. With this, he will be able to focus on the activities for which he is responsible for. Even the manager has to pay more attention on his department only. If he is a purchase manager, so he don't have to focus on the activities on sales, purchase, advertisement, finance, and any other department. He don't have nothing to do with the other departments. He only have to focus on the activities for which he is responsible for, which helps the people to give their proper attention to the activities of their department only. If it is not done, what will happen? In that case, if a manager is appointed for the whole organization, then he have to work for purchase also, sales, advertisement. It means the whole burden is on his head. But if we are appointed for a single department only, then we have to focus on our activities only. We don't need to involve in other activities. After this, functional structure has some disadvantages also. First disadvantage is ignorance of organizational objective. As we know that each and every organization structure have some advantage, even disadvantages also. So here each departmental head works according to his own wishes. They always give more weight to their departmental objectives, hence overall organizational objectives suffer. As we can say, students, that if a manager belongs to a purchase department, okay, so he will wish that my department will perform better than others. He will perform each and every activity with the motive that my department should be the best department in this organization. In this view, with this view, this manager will not be able to focus on the organizational objective. For example, if there is a purchase department manager, so he will try to buy best quality products, best quality raw materials, so that the product will be of best quality, because he know if I will purchase the low quality raw material, then the product quality will also suffer. So your department will also suffer. So he, for example, he have purchased a better quality raw material, but that good raw material was not in the budget of the organization, because of which the finance department suffers. But that purchase department manager didn't think about the finance department, because he want to supersede his department only. So in this case, we can say that purchase department tries to supersede his department, because of which the whole organization will suffer. But the organizational objective is to achieve the organization goal effectively as well as efficiently. Maybe it is possible that the organization will achieve the organization effectively, but it might be possible that because of very high cost raw material, the organization objective will not be achieved efficiently. So in this case, we are trying to explain you that because of departmental heads, different departmental heads, each departmental manager works according to their wish, as they have the authority and responsibility of their department, and they try to give more weightage to their department only, which will result, sometimes it will result in that organizational objective, overall organizational objective suffers. Okay, now second disadvantage is difficulty in coordination. All departmental heads work as per their own wishes, which leads to conflicts and create problems while exchanging information between different departments. How functional structure leads to lack in coordination? For example, if all the departments pursue their respective objectives only, okay, purchase department wants to purchase better quality products, sale department wants to increase their sale, an advertisement department wants to advertise their product much more effectively and impressive to attract more and more customers. If each and every department will perform the work as per their wish, so it might create the problem that they will have, or they have to face some problems while they are exchanging information between different department, because each and every person is specialized in their field, and each one is doing the work as per their wish to make their department much more better as compared to other. So it will create two conflicts also. Okay, as for example, that sales department wants to increase the sale of their product. For this, they have decided to give 10% discount to the customers. Okay, students, please understand it carefully. For increasing the sale of the product, they have decided, the sales department have decided to give 10% discount. But that 10% discount is not in the favor of finance department. Finance department is asking to give only minimum to minimum or a max to max 5% discount, as it is not in the budget of the organization. So there is a conflict. Okay, sales department wants to give 10% so that their product sale can be increased, but finance department is asking to give only 5% discount because it is out of the budget. So each and every manager, both the managers of different departments will have a conflict on this topic, that whose wish will be adopted by the organization, and they will face a problem while exchanging information in future also. Okay, so it is very difficult to maintain the coordination, establish the coordination while there are different departments in single organization. Third one is inflexibility. It means as employees get training of their department work only, so they cannot be shifted to other departments. They lack flexibility and adaptation to change. It means employees get training of one function only. As we have discussed in advantages, that it is very cost effective. Why it is cost effective? Because the organization provides a training to a particular employee related to his department only. He will not be able to learn what other departments are performing. So it becomes very difficult in case if there is a need to shift one people to other department. For example, a sales department worker is to be shifted to, or manager is to be shifted to purchase department. So it is very difficult. Why? Because he gets training for that particular work only, and he has been assigned the same task again and again. So he has been specialized in one work only under the functional structure. So there is inflexibility. It means it is very difficult to change the resources and the different peoples from one department to another department, because the person is not familiar with the work which is being performed by other departments. He is familiar with his own department work only. Now, fourth disadvantage is conflict or of interest. The departmental head starts thinking their department as their functional empire, and this leads to conflicts among various departments. Conflicts may also arise due to lack of clarity in responsibility. It means that each and every departmental manager have their own attitudes. They think that this department is our functional empire. We can perform any activity, we can take any decision if we are the manager. Even they are working under the top level manager. As you can understand, as per the chapter number 1, that departmental means if the person is departmental manager, it means it is on middle level. Under middle level he is working, but still he is working under the top level manager. But top level manager has given some authority and responsibility to the middle level, as he cannot supersede, as he cannot supervise each and every manager. So in this way, each and every manager thinks that the department in under which they are working, it is their functional empire. Okay, so which leads to conflict between them, because if interest of two or more departments is not compatible, it means they are not, all the attitudes and all the advices of different managers are not matching with each other. Okay, so each department gives more importance to their department only, and it will leads to conflicts among different departments. Now we have completed the functional structure. With this, we are coming to different next structure, that is divisional structure. What is it? Dividing the whole enterprise. Here it is written, the whole enterprise according to the measure products to be manufactured. What we have explained you in the functional structure, that when a manufacturing company is manufacturing only a single product or one line of product, even then they divided the work on the basis of functions, not on the basis of products, because they are producing only a single product. If they are dividing their organization on the basis of function, that is purchase, sales, that is functional. But if an organization, a company is manufacturing more than one line of product, like metal, plastic, cosmetics, etc., or say a manufacturing company is manufacturing automobiles, food items, cosmetics, and even clothes also. So there are different line of product. Okay, there are too many types of product. So under that, if they are dividing the organization in on the basis of different products, let's say a department for automobiles is different, then food department is different, then clothes is different. So that structure is known as divisional, on the basis of divisions we can say on the basis of product. Where this type of structure is suitable? This structure is suitable in organizations producing multi product, okay, where an organization is producing more than one product or different lines of product, which requires more attention and which requires more specialization. Now this structure also has some advantages as well as disadvantages. We will discuss advantages first. First is product specialization. In the functional structure, the first advantage was, what was that? It was functional specialization. It means each and every manager will be get very much specialized in their work, as they are given same work again and again. But in this we will get product specialization, as all the activities related to one product are under one department only, okay. Whether it is a sales, purchase, advertisement, it means there is a department, there is a single department of all the works, all the activities under one group only. So it will bring integration and coordination in the activities, and as all are working as a one unit, there is no purchase, there is no sales, different departments are not there, different products are there, different product department are there, but related to that single product, all the activities are working under one department. So it will create specialization. It means the product will be very specialized, and each and every person is working with one another under one department only. Second advantage is quick decision making. It means divisional manager can take any decision regarding his division independently, which makes quick decisions and makes decisions very much effective, as they don't need to consult anything with other product department. There is no dependence on other department for taking the decision. If clothes department wants to take any decision for their clothes department, so they can only discuss with the departmental managers of purchase, sales, advertise. They don't need to consult with the manager of automobiles department, they don't need to consult with the managers of food department. They can take their decisions very much quickly. So in this way, this structure leads to quick decision making. Third advantage is defines accountability. It means division results, profit and loss can be assessed easily. On the basis, any unprofitable division can be closed. It means the owner of the organization can easily identify that which product is not performing well and which is performing well in the market. For example, the sales of different products will be assessed by the finance manager of different products department, okay. The finance department of garments or clothes will make the account of his department. The finance manager will make the accounts of the finance manager of food department will make the accounts of food department only. It means if there are 4 products, the accounts of 4 products will be prepared separately, and the profit and loss on the basis of the balance sheet of different products, it can be easily assessed that which product is performing well, the sale of which product is very much good in the market, and which product is suffering from loss. So it is very easy for the owner or the managing director of the company to decide that if any division is there, any product is there whose sale is not very much good, so that division can be closed on the spot, okay, so that it will not create any much more loss for the organization. But if there is no separate department, all the departments, all the products finance is being maintained by a single account, so it is very difficult to identify if the company is facing loss, okay. If the company is facing loss, then which is the product, which is that product whose sale is not very much good. But on the basis of different department, we can easily assess that which product is performing well and which one is not performing well. Fourth advantage is growth and expansion. It means it facilitates growth and expansion, as new divisions can be added without disturbing existing departments. It means the employees, okay, the employees working in the departments are assigned similar tasks, As a result, they don't get the opportunity also. And even if an organization wants to add, okay, if they wants to add new product, then they can easily add the product without disturbing existing department. Okay, for example, 4 products are already being manufactured by the company, but if they wants to add some new product, okay, let's say they are manufacturing clothes and food item, but they wants to add, a company wants to add automobiles also, then they can easily add the product without disturbing the rest of the 2 departments which are already been there in the company, because that product will have different division and it does not have any relation with other departments, so that it can be very easy for the organization to add new products. If the new products can be easily added to the organization, it will result in growth and expansion of the organization, we can say. If there is much more difficulty in adding the new products, so it will be very difficult for the organization to add new products, and it will result in less growth and expansion. An organization needs to think very much before adding any new product. Okay, now coming to fifth advantage, that is flexibility. As each division function as a separate unit, which leads to faster decision making. It means it is very easy to make any changes, any decisions very quickly in any department of any product. Okay, if the garments department want to take any decision for that department, they can easily take that decision. If they want to even change the decisions, they can easily change. Their decisions are much more flexible because they don't need to discuss, even they don't have any relation with other departments, which makes is it's very much flexible to make any changes in the departments. Okay, if all the departments are interrelated, they are working under one unit only, then it is very difficult to make any change, because one change can affect whole organization. But if you are working as a separate unit, it is very easy to make changes. Here are some disadvantages also. First one is conflicts. What does it mean? Conflicts among different divisions on allocation of resources, as more funds to any other department, which may result in more profits, may arise. As we can say, for example, the budget is to be passed for different departments, but because of some reason, the manager has passed 1 lakh rupees budget for garments department and 2 lakh rupees budget for the automobiles department. For example, there are 2 products lines, so 1 lakh and 2 lakh, because of any reason. So it may be possible that there will be a conflict between the managers of these 2 departments, that why you have given more budget, why you have given more funds to that department, why should not you give such funds to my department. So it may be possible, it might be possible that there are conflicts between different departments on the basis of allocation of resources and any other decision which are the managers being taking for the different departments. Okay, second is increased operational cost. Entire set of functions, let's say staff and other resources, required to all division, so it gives rise to duplicity of efforts among divisions and increases cost. Let's say that for example, 2 children are there in a family. Okay, they are studying, they have to study at the same point, as they belongs to the same class, let's say board classes. The same date sheet is there, the same on the same time they have to study. So if they are studying in a single room, one light they will use, okay, one tube light they will use. So on, but if they require 2 rooms to study, okay, different rooms to study, they can't sit together, so then they will consume more electricity, because 2 tube lights will be consumed by the different children. So in this case, we can say that if the department is also different for the different products, so they will require all the resources separately, which will increases the cost. Okay, it gives rise to duplicity of efforts. It means the one machine, there is a common machine which is to be used by the different departments. Let's say finance department requires a laptop to make some accounts. If that person is performing the accounts work for account activity for all the products, he will require single laptop. On the single laptop he can make all the accounts. But if 5 managers have been appointed for 5 products, so they will require 5 laptops. Different resources, separate resources will be required by all the managers, which will increases the cost also. Third disadvantage is complete authority ignores organizational objective. Might be possible that all the product department managers will focus on their department also, which may create a selfish attitude among managers, and they may ignore organizational objective. Let's say that the uh, garment department manager does not have any relation, he wants to increase the sale of his department only, his product only, okay, and automobiles manager wants to increase the sale of his product. So the divisional heads have complete authority to run their divisions, okay, the top level manager has given complete authority. But in the course of achieving results for their respective divisions, they may ignore organizational objective. What is the organizational objective? To achieve their goals effectively and efficiently. But in the view to increase the sale of their product, they have increased the cost for the organization, which have a negative impact on the organizational objective. The organization will not be able to achieve their goals efficiently because everyone tries to supersede their department, their product. In this view, they have incur so much cost. For example, let's say on advertisement, on good quality product, on good managers and experts and workers, high salaried peoples, on every activity they have spent much more, okay, which will affect the organizational objective. With this, I am resuming my video. With this, we have completed the meaning, advantages and disadvantages of different structure. For watching the formal and informal organization, different types of organization, please watch the next video. Thank you.